Man, these militias really are taking a beating, aren't they? Oh, welcome back, everybody. This is Dave with Fairmere's Rangers, and yes, we're picking back up with round 4 of our 4v4 tournament, nation versus nation, and this one of obviously is Russia versus Prussia. And Prussia is really taking a nice advance here on the flank, although they are doing a lot of cat and mouse here as Russia is constantly pushing up with some aggressiveness against Russia here. I was trying to assist with my light dragoons over here, and I got busy on the other side. So when my ally pulled back, I end up losing one of my light dragoons here. I do get a couple shots off it, so it's not like it, but I really hated losing this unit. Golly, what a terrible way to lose a unit. You can see my other one there stretched out like that is the only reason why he ended up surviving. But anyways, yeah, brutal way to lose the light dragoon. But I do end up putting my other light dragoon into pretty good use over here against the Russians. I think I did bring my other of my 3 light dragoons down to help as well. So over here, obviously all the Prussian militia is now routed off the field, but Prussia's getting some nice shots in on these Russian guards and putting some payment back on them for some of the units that Prussia's lost. But they are taking damage in the process. It's not like he's coming out of this clean. Russia is using their light dragoons extraordinarily well, and that's why using my light dragoons there to assist a little bit, just trying to put everything in, every little bit of help I can. You can see up here on the top, it's a pretty big snooze fest. Not much is going on. The Russians have the hill. but they're not willing to push out in the center on the top or off the top of the hill. So they're pretty much at a standstill over here. So we're waiting for, ooh, that was a nice shot by the light dragoons there. Russians are dropping. The Russians are dropping. All right. So like I said, over here it's a pretty big standstill. And not really much to report on, to say the least. You can see how quiet it is. All right, let's get down to where the action is taking place. All the way down over here. All right, so Russia's doing these little cat and mouse attacks on the Prussians, trying to push them back out of the woods that the Prussians have taken on this flank, which they're not willing to give up this woodland. As you can see here, they're getting some nice shots in on the Cossacks, but the Cossacks getting some kills in here, whittling down the Prussians. So they're not going down without a fight. We do have one more Prussian militia on this side. There's still a lot more in the center, but yeah, you can see another Russian unit's about to rout. As a guard. But we got 3 more Russian lines coming up. And you can see here this Prussian grenadier getting some shots in. He's going to go up and try to get a grenade throw. I think he'd probably been better off just keeping that unit firing where it was. Because running into those volleys and tries to throw a grenade volley and it just... The Russians ain't having it. They're out of there. So they got their shots in and they roll out. It's not like they win it clean, but you can see the grenade throws there. And here's my 2 light dragoons trying to get a shot in on the Russians. Woohoo, boy. That was a nice shot. Dang. Look at them. They're still falling. That was a nice one. Okay. Up here, yep. Still snooze fest on the top. Nothing happening. Nothing much anyway. A little bit of skirmishing on the top of the hill. All the action's happening down here. Give it the cinematic effect. All right, I'm going to try and bring my light dragoons up to help, but it's tough to find a little crack to get them in. I said crack. All right. These 2 Russian lines are trying to come up and get some shots in. And they get some really nice melee charge off as the grenadiers are trying to run. The Jaegers are back there in the process of reloading. Man, he gets a great charge in on these Prussian grenadiers. Almost routs him out and punches through. Now that Russian line was full strength. He's going into the ooh, man, yeah, a couple Russians flying. They're getting dusted off by this light dragoon army here, 3 of them. So now that Russian is all exposed, even with the 3 chevrons, he is all by his lonesome, and he ends up routing off the battlefield. So other than that, the Russians are using their light infantry here in the center to keep the Prussians all the way back in the woodland. So really nice job there. You can see here the push continues on the flank, but you can see from all the dead on the ground that this is costing both sides quite a bit in the process. You see the light dragoons for Prussia trying to get shots in as the Russians retreat. And here they go, nice little volley. Got a pretty good mount, causing those 2 Russians to start wavering. Unfortunately, those rifles are getting some shots in on this light dragoon. He still hadn't shot yet. And these riflemen are going to start getting some more shots and kills in, and they got to resort. They only get a half volley on one of the units, so yeah, that didn't go too well. Up on the top, it's still quiet. Nothing happening. There's just minor skirmishes happening. Yep, everything's happening here. So we'll see how this turns out. We see some more grenades coming in, bombing these Russian lines over here on the edge of the red line. And here comes another throw of grenades. We get nice contact in there. Killing off a few more, causing that unit to waver. There's 2 more fresh Russian lines there to back it up. And of course the Russian riflemen there. You can see all this Russian cav here in support. And the other Prussian player in the center is just too far back. He needs to get in there. Get in there. Let's speed this up a bit. This is going to start quieting down now here on this side of the battlefield. So we're going to shift our attention up here to this part of the battlefield. A little bit of skirmishes happening at this point. The Russians did not come out of it very well. And they're trying to send up some Cossacks to cause some troubles for the Prussian Jaegers here. But I think he was trying to get melee with the Jaegers, but I stuck him with the militia, so that got him kind of stuck in. It's going to allow me to get a shot with the line infantry, as you can see here. Pretty close range too. Going to get pretty good accurate shots in on him. And I swipe the militia in behind him. That causes him to rout. Now he is bringing up some more Russian lines. And another Cossack up on the other side. But this attack has really been disrupted by my militia. As you can see here, I'm going to get some great shots in on this Cossack here. Cossacks are just too expensive of a militia unit for what you get. I think Russia got robbed there. Alright, so here in the center you can see my ally has sent his militia up there. And it's just going to cause enough of a disruption after that Russian attack and they pull back in the center. I'm now going to be able to make a push, all because of my allies' militia. My opponent here, he shot at my militia, so I got free reign to make a nice little push up. And I'm going to really try to claim the woodland that the Russians are holding here. And if I can maybe break the stalemate that's happening here. So I'm trying to get an aggressive move in. And I got to get rid of this Cossack, get it out of the way. So I ended up taking a shot on it. It wasn't the most ideal things to do, but I needed the space. So now we're going to get into the action here versus the Russians. You see my line infantry getting some shots in. And I'm going to be bringing up my additional units as this is a little bit further on. Thanks to editing, I got two more line infantry rolled over, and I did claim the woodland as the Russians were getting shots and rolling back. And now they're going to try to counterattack with a melee rush. As you can see it coming in right now. There's two Russian line infantry coming in for the melee. Here comes the first, hitting my line infantry, and I have two more line infantry behind. So the second Russian line, you can see there in the top of the screen. My ally has brought a couple of units over, which is pretty good assist. Now, he has overextended with that push from that melee, and he smacked right into my lifeguards, and the lifeguards are freaking phenomenal in melee. So that Russian line is not going to last long there. It's not going to spell very good for him. All right, so here you can see things have progressed, and I've now claimed the whole woodland after beating back that melee, and we are now starting to push the center of the hill. As you can see, we've pushed the Russians back, and I'm using my riflemen to keep some distance. Now, one of the Russian players, the one that's holding the center hill, or I'm sorry, the one that's in the center on the top, starts doing melee charges with his light dragoons into my lifeguards as I try to make the push. I've got one line infantry that's screening for him because my militia is dead at this point. You can see here my ally on the other side. He's got a few units helping me here, but he's not pushing the hill. I was hoping this would spur him to attack the center hill, and we could pincer him in there. Sadly, that does not happen, so I end up making this assault all on my own. But I'm hoping that this attack takes some of the pressure off of my allies at the bottom of the hill. But you can see behind and the top of the screen all the Russian units shifting over to assist over here, and you can see my lifeguards taking volleys from light dragoons everywhere. And I do bring my light dragoons over to get shots on these light dragoons that have meleeed the back of me, and I take out quite a bit there. But you can see here my ally is not putting any pressure on the other side of the hill, and if he did, we would have them surrounded. As you can see, another light dragoon coming in for another melee attack, which honestly he doesn't really get like great kills off of it, but he does cause some disruption. And that's the biggest part. My ally is now just barely starting to move up into the other side of the hill, but you can see here I'm still pretty much on my lonesome. I'm bringing my two light dragoons now as we've pushed the Russians back a little bit more, trying to keep these 3 light dragoons over there on the edge from shooting me. Got 3 more dismounted in the woodland, and a couple more units over here on the bottom. Let's shift over here. It's almost wrapped up over here, so that part is one. And you can see here starting to make great work on the Russian guards here. The grenadiers are from the flank, my flank ally, so you can see here the grenade volleys on that guard, getting some great kills in. But like I said, we're taking quite a bit of damage everywhere. In my attack, I'm taking quite a bit of damage. You can see here I'm now getting another melee attack from light dragoons. Just constant disruptions. So I have to bring up more line infantry to support my guards, which now only have 1 lifeguard left at this point. So I've got 2 line infantry and 1 lifeguard afoot, taking on these remnants of the Russian Russian opponent here, and I've got him whittled down enough. Russians are not good in melee defense, so I decided to go ahead and pursue a melee charge, because over here you can see that I'm going to start getting pressured by the Russians coming off the top. I didn't really show that well, but you can see here at the bottom our allies have won, but they're very slow to push the center hill. He's got plenty of units that he could be assisting me. We could be pincering the Russians in here, and it could be an easy win on the hill, but instead I'm having to fight the majority of this fight on my own. Now here you can see at this point I'm trying to hold on with what I can by tooth and nail against the top player while I fight out the Russian out of the center hill woods, which I'm starting to do. And now my ally is closer to where he can start making some contact. So sadly I had to push him downhill into my ally instead of my ally coming to meet me in the middle. Luckily the my ally that was on the bottom flank has started making an aggressive push uphill, as his opponent is completely dead, with the exception of his cav, which is in the middle of me at the moment. And now you can see the Russians from the top center are making a melee push here, and I'm just getting a lot of shots in on him as he's making his way over. So he's going to try and assault and pincer me in, which was what I was trying to do. But at the point he makes this a move, it's good aggression, but it's just a little bit too little, too late, because his ally has already been finished off in the behind me by my allies and the remnants of my forces. So you can see here now I'm bringing up the units that were fighting his ally are now coming up to assist me. Well, he's going to go all in on this fight, and you can see here I'm constantly putting firepower down on him as he makes a push in, and he's trying to reclaim the center hill. But you can see his pushing through is just pushing through into being enveloped and surrounded. I've got my remnants of my lifeguard afoot that was fighting the other Russian is now holding off all these men. I do end up losing the lifeguard afoot in one of my light dragoons, but my line infantry is holding up, and you can see here the Russian has just basically encircled himself. So we're going to be able, and my allies are finally up on the center hill. So you can see the envelopment now that the Russian has put himself in. So what seemed like a good idea ends up being a pretty terrible one for the Russian player. All right, so he's going to get pretty much just destroyed here in this center hill woodland. And you see the grenadiers are going to start lobbing grenades in on him. In the background. Kind of tough to see from that angle, but they're trying to get some melee in, but at this point they're already tired. There goes the grenade throws. And he does rout one Prussian line infantry off, but he's just getting grenaded too much. He went in a square, and that wasn't good for him. Here's the last Russian line as we finish off this opponent. So now we have 3 Russians pretty much wiped out, but we've taken considerable damage doing so. And you can see here's the last one. So now the Russians are dead here. 3 players down, 1 to go. There's just 1 unit left. I'm sorry. But our ally up at the top of the hill has stayed engaged with our opponent that is remaining, that's holding the top of the hill. And he's taking quite a bit of damage doing that, which would have been better if he just laid back with what he had left. But also, the Russian player on the hill should have been more aggressive to try to completely finish off this player. It would have been in his advantage to do so, because he does end up leaving 4 units, I believe, of our ally there, which would have come in handy, but really our assault on the hill is not really well coordinated, and the Russian player is pretty darn good. It would have been probably better for us to completely regroup and attack and assault the hill from completely one side rather than trying to envelop him, because fighting on this hill is just quite difficult unless you're doing an extremely well coordinated fight. It's almost better to have only 1 player coordinating the fight rather than 4, which we're doing. We have 4 players now versus 1, and I think one of the players has 2 riflemen, so there's 2 Russian players on this hill, and one of them only has 2 units to manage. But you can see this is a pretty good design defense that he puts up, and you can see that one of the players that has the most units is the most sedentary for us, and that's what ends up losing us the battle from what we were ending up looking like we were going to win. Turns out to be a sad, pathetic defeat here at the end, which is kind of sad. Really sad, and it ends up being pretty slow from this point. So I'm gonna all the action taking place here is pretty much the ending point of the battle, as the real true ending of the battle takes forever, so I'll fast forward through that part, but we'll at least watch this action as it happens so you can see the killing moves that our opponent ends up making on us. Again, Russian melee attack is very strong, especially against very tired units, which we had from making that run all the way up from the bottom. So yeah, he's just picking us apart one at a time. And you can see here, the coordination of the attacks are just not very well. Do end up doing some damage here, but not enough. So this is going to lead the Prussians dropping their 2nd straight battle. So they're going to fall to now 1-3 1-3, I believe, on the season. So what seemed like the Prussians were going to end up being a contender, now they're starting to slip. So they're down to 1-3. It's not like they can't come back from this, but this is going to be a little more difficult for the Prussians from this point. They got to start stringing together some wins and seeing what they can do. Now the Russians came into this battle with a record of 0-2, so they get their first win. So here we're going to fast forward through this, as it's going to take forever for the Russian player to finish this off. But yeah, so Russia goes to 1-2 on the year. And I don't know, this is a pretty good solid win, but honestly, the Prussians had this. It's just a very close loss. I'll tell you that the kill totals are extremely close. The Prussians ended up with a total of 5,194 kills, and the Russians ended up with a kill count of 5,220. So you can see how extraordinarily close the kills were. Very close. Well, at any rate, I hope you guys did enjoy this battle. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, because we are going to continue on with this tournament. We're on round 4 now. Just can't wait to see how this tournament ends up and see who ends up being the champion. Which nation will take it? We'll see you on the next battle, guys.